Hello, everyone, and welcome in. It is Aaron St. Denis, the FFMadScientist, joined today by Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel and Jesse Moeller at J05. Somebody dropped something. What was that?
Playing the drums over here.
Playing the drums. All right, we're here with another 2024 rookie sneak peek. This one is Arizona wide receiver Jacob Cowing. We will get right into it. Who wrote this one, Jesse?
That would be me. Yes, sir.
That would be Jesse. If you want to see his whole write-up, go over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. All right. Cowing, a 2-star rated prospect and 418th ranked wide receiver in the 2019 class from Maricopa High School in Maricopa, Arizona. Not off to a promising start here. Cowing joined UTEP as a freshman and became the best wide receiver throughout his freshman season. Not necessarily saying much. Cowing led the team in receiving yards with 550 yards was the leading receiver.
Dude, those first 2 years at UTEP, their offense was trash. I think they threw for less than 2,000 yards one of the season. And he had like almost a 40% dominator. It was insane. Like if he was in a good offense, it would have been fine.
550 yards. Who was his quarterback? Mac Jones?
I know somebody we've never heard of, and we'll probably never hear of again. I looked up the name and I was like, I don't even know who this is.
The funny part was UTEP, I believe I did an all college football fantasy league with SC this year. Never done one before. I had a UTEP quarterback on mine. It was like you can start 9 quarterbacks. No, I won it all. And I couldn't tell you who he was, but it was like you start 9 quarter. We've gotten completely sidetracked here. Sorry, guys. During his second year in college, he repeated his feat of being the leading receiver for UTEP. He also took charge of the highest number of receptions for the team. In this season, he contributed a whopping 41% of the team's receiving yards.
Insane.
Scored a total of 691 on 41 catches. And
Dominator a billion.
Jesus, I'm going to have to. You know what the funny part is? I bet if I look, I use Player Profiler for all my Dominator scores. Bet you if I look, he's not even on there. But if he was.
No, he's like 96 or 97%. He's like 8.
He's
18.6 breakout.
61.4 Dominator, 99th percentile.
Jesus Christ. All right. In his junior year, Cowing had a breakout season. He ranked 5th in college football with 1,354 receiving yards. Oh, that's on Arizona. I was going to say, what is that, 94% of their yards? He has gone to Arizona by this time. 69 receptions and 7 touchdowns. As a result, he was awarded first-team All-Conference USA honors. Cowing transferred from UTEP to Arizona to be closer to his son in Arizona. That's interesting. You don't see that a whole lot. Despite the challenge of upgrading to a Power 5 conference, he had an impressive first year leading the Pac-12 in receptions with 85 catches for 1,034 yards. So only a slight drop-off despite a massive jump in competition. Same touchdowns, 7. All right. He decided to return to Arizona for his senior year and was listed on the preseason Biletnikoff Award watch list, which is best receiver in college football. Was once again a target magnet for Arizona. He set a new record in receptions with 90 for 848. It's interesting. You see the dip in yards there. I feel like they had a really crappy quarterback this year, but I can't remember. 13 touchdowns. After an extremely successful collegiate career, he finished 7th all-time in receiving yards with 4,477, turned his sights to the NFL draft where he is going now, which is why we're talking about him. So, Jesse, aside from the insane Dominator rating, what jumped out here for you? I mean, that's probably what's going to jump out, but what do you do?
If you're looking at his production profile, that Dominator jumps out at anybody who does analytics. But for me, it's early in his career at UTEP, he was a massive deep threat. Like, you look at his yards per target, they're 16, 19, 20. Like, he is pushing the ball down the field because he's the explosive element in the offense. He goes to Arizona, and he shifts completely out of the using. He plays out of the slot, and it's a lot of low A-dot work. And part of that is the quarterback situation, but I mean, he's playing with one of the best wide receivers in the 25 class, Tet McMillan, who, if people don't know who that guy is, like, he is going to be a high-end first-round pick. Like, he's awesome. So that, too, the way those two work together, like, his role completely shifted. And I think the way we see him at Arizona is how we're going to see him used in the NFL. So, like, that's more what we're looking for from him moving forward.
I'm going to put an embargo here on this review. You are not allowed to use the words of a Houston Texans receiver in your comparison. We all know which guy I'm talking about.
I got another guy. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah. Dank Tell, is that who you're going to talk about? All right, I see how you're going. How about you, Jeremy? What jumped out here? I mean, besides the fact that you almost fall out of your chair when you look at his Dominator.
It's what Jesse said. It's that low A dot usage. I'll cite a former Houston Texans wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins when he was in Arizona. He wasn't used like DeAndre Hopkins. He was used like Rondale Moore when DeAndre Hopkins was on the other side, and that's the big thing, right? Rondale Moore had like the lowest A dot in the history of A dot.
Was it negative in his rookie year? I think
it was negative 1 year,
negative 1.2 or something. Yeah,
and so that's the only concern is if that's how he's going to be used in the NFL, that's okay. Just make sure he doesn't sign up to Cliff Kingsbury's offense. That's all.
Right, exactly.
Oh, we're off to a solid start today, boys. All right, here's where we get the Danktel comparisons. He is 5'8", 165 pounds, 23, and he's a senior, so he's a little bit older, but I'm kind of discounting that last year, this year. We see a lot of players. We see your 20-year-olds and 25-year-olds in this draft class. COVID just did, wonders on it. And I don't really I always love the early declares, but he started at UTEP and ended up at Arizona being a target hog. I'm not really going to hold that against him too much. We'll get into the scouting report here. Strengths, he has good quick twitch movements, which enable him to get open consistently. Skilled route runner who moves through the routes efficiently with minimal wasted movements. Possesses a diverse route tree, which will give him an advantage at the NFL level. He effectively utilizes leverage to his advantage and throws the defender's balance, throws them off balance in coverage. If I could read, yeah. Extremely coordinated and has a natural ability to catch the ball in the screen game, and he can turn small gains into chunk plays with skill sets. So again, it's kind of very difficult to not make the comparison that I've tried to avoid, which because it's really, I hear that everyone's on him. Gotta get him. He's I won't say it. I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
What really stood out for you, Jesse, as his best strength?
If you want to compare somebody else, look at Hollywood Brown in the NFL. Like, they're similar traits. They're both small guys who are fast. Interestingly enough, I think from him, he doesn't have the high end speed. So you think he would be a blazer. That's not really who he is. It's more short-term quickness. But his best traits are the way he uses his body and his deceleration, which really sets defenders off balance. So if NFL wide receivers who can accelerate and decelerate well, that's a dramatic advantage. That's something he does well. And it's the short area quickness, which he uses for the massive yak plays that he has. So that combined is really going to set him well. He's going to come up and be like a productive NFL wide receiver just because he knows how to do a lot of what you're looking for straight out of the gate. I mean, he's 23 years old, right? So he should have that talent.
Was your actual comp for him when you read the player I said? Was it?
Yeah. I mean, it's super easy to put the, especially because he's a late declare, right? So like that's the first one that comes to mind. But there's other smaller guys you think of, like another guy who's a little bit faster is Andy Isabella, who coming out, obviously he didn't hit, but that's another kind of a player we're looking at in that range.
How about you, Jeremy, for the strengths? What do you see?
Was before we get to that, was Andy Isabella a Cardinal as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So far we've mentioned 4 Arizona Cardinal wide receivers. Jacob Cowing is using his witchcraft to manifest himself to the Arizona Cardinals.
And he played in Arizona.
At least he won't have to deal with Cliff Kingsbury, but he wants to be closer to his kid. Let's just get that into our heads here right away.
I would argue that whoever the coach was in Arizona, in the University of Arizona, was probably better than Cliff Kingsbury at Arizona. So.
maybe.
I don't even know who it was, but I feel like that's
Jed Fish. He's the Huskies' new head coach.
Okay,
nice.
well,
Good luck.
All right, sorry, Jeremy, strength.
Yeah, it's the route running, right? It's his quickness in general, right? He runs the route. He's so quick in and out of his breaks, able to create that separation. He's not incredibly fast, but he's fast enough.
He's a projected 4.4.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're gonna see, right? Like we're gonna see what all these guys end up running. I feel like every wide receivers are projected 4.4. They're all between 4.4 and 4.5. So we're gonna see who actually can run it.
Yeah.
He looks fast enough for sure on the field, but he's quick enough to create that separation. Like Jesse was mentioning, his use in the screen game, he's stretching the field horizontally and turning up well with acceleration. So that's what
all right. Weaknesses: lack of size likely makes him a slot player at the next level. Struggles against the press, would do well to line up off the line of scrimmage at the NFL level. There seems to be some issues with hand technique as drops keep appearing in his film. Lacks physicality and route running in blocking situations due to his size. So the main trend I'm noticing here, Jesse, weaknesses, his size.
Mm-hmm.
Fair to say?
Yeah, I mean it's no matter how like his size, it's really hard to break out of that mold because you're going to be limited from an NFL level. So you have to really excel. Similar to Tank Dell, I know we're like trying to not talk about him, but you have to excel the ways he does, where like you're winning consistently in your routes and all the routes you're running deep. Because like he more plays deeper in the NFL level, so I don't know how like a 1-for-1 comp that works really. Because Tank Dell really stretches the field, and I'm not 100% sure Jacob Kelly can stretch the field like that.
Yeah, Tank Dell doesn't really come off as a slot receiver. I know everyone's gonna say that. Well, his size. I know it's 2 years ago. It was a long shot. We could never draft last year, but Tank Dell, you can't draft this guy. He's too small. Now a year later, it's Tank Dell hit. So forget his size. Every 5'5" receiver is gonna be a stud. So
I mean,
how about you,
have to be
Jeremy?
really good. Yeah.
Weakness for you, Jeremy?
Listen, it is the size, but we've been seeing this happen, right? This was the huge talking point a couple of years ago with Devonta Smith. He broke that mold, and Tank Dell again broke it again. In addition to his leg, as long as you don't have Bobby Slowick, drawing up these interior blocking plays for Cowing at the next level, then I think he'll be okay with the size. They just need to get him out in space.
I feel like there's a few coaches where I'm going, I just hope he doesn't land with that coach because, they do some really weird things. Yeah. All right, we'll cap it off here with some draft talk. Jesse has him going in the 4th round, which is beginning of day 3, to the Carolina Panthers. Man, do I love that. I think that's the safe range for him, beginning of day 3. But Carolina, they got nothing.
Exactly.
Jonathan Mingo looks like a pretty obvious miss. Adam Thielen looks old. Geez, this would be awesome if Bryce Young could ever turn it around. And this might be the perfect fit because him and Bryce Young are on the same eye level. So like it's easier for Bryce Young to throw it to him. He doesn't have to look up to see him. It's same height. So
what do you all Munchkin team.
What do you have to say here about your fit for day 4 to the Panthers, Jesse?
Yeah, so like I was thinking best, like he's gonna be a day 2, day 3 guy, depending on how he tests, but for me, it's where the most production could be and a team that needs a slot wide receiver because realistically, he doesn't win enough on that like consistently in those routes on the outside off of press where you can consistently line him up out there like and have confidence like Tank Dell because Tank Dell's a wizard at it. It's really like I don't think that should be the expectation for Cowing. He's a lower tier player because of that. But any team that needs a slot wide receiver, so you can put him in Denver, you can put him in Pittsburgh, any one of those teams that are searching for a slot wide receiver who can win consistently, I think it's a great spot. And Carolina is the dream because there's nobody else there, so he's just going to hog targets. So like that's the fantasy meeting NFL reality where it's like, oh, this guy's going to be viable for sure.
I can tell you in rookie drafts, every time the word Tank Dell is spoken in his projection, he seems to move up 3 draft slots. Right. When I first started, he was going in the 5th round and the 4th. Yeah. Like I seen him this week go twice at the end of the 2nd round, and I'm going, oh, but he could be Tank Dell. And someone even in the comments, I think it was Fantasy Football Today or Fantasy Pros, they commented, he's got Tank Dell vibes for me. I'm going, oh
no, he doesn't.
He like may that. Have Tank Dell vibes. We didn't draft Tank Dell in the 2nd round. So what do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter where we think he's going to go or where, we hope he's going to go. He's going to go to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals have, you're talking round 4. The Cardinals have 3 picks in round 3, including, let's see.
Why would you keep manifesting such a terrible thing? What did Cowing ever do to you?
Listen, I'm not doing it. This is all Cowing just, controlling me and manifesting through me. So the Cardinals have pick 91. In addition to some earlier ones in round 3, and pick 104, 3 spots after the Panthers in round 4. He's going to Arizona. Deal with it. It's going to happen.
If you scroll down on the sheet, you see I listed Arizona there too as the last team for the option because they need a slot wide receiver. Like they literally need a slot receiver. Rondale Moore is clearly not like he's not the guy. So yeah, I'm with you. Line of Arizona. By the way, Cliff Kingsbury, the old Arizona head coach, is in Washington. They don't really need a slot wide receiver, so that's kind of the thing. Otherwise, I'd be like, yeah, send him to Cliff.
So what you're saying is on day 3, when every time Washington comes to the podium, we pray it's not Cowing's name they call out. If it is, he's just off the draft board. It's like,
oh no, yeah, exactly.
I feel like this is another one like where like I wouldn't want him on a Brandon Staley type coach team where it's like these guys who overthink it and just
No thanks.
All right. Well, that was a fun way to start off our day with an exciting one way down the list here, the 2024 rookie sneak peek of Jacob Cowing, wide receiver out of Arizona. To go see Jesse's full write-up of this or the full write-up of pretty much any other prospect in the top 2-3 days, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com or check back tomorrow on our YouTube channel for the next player in our video. For Aaron, Jeremy, and Jesse, thank you all for tuning in to the Fantasy Football Universe.